You're looking for a bass that actually lives in the room with you, not just a list of specs you can't translate into a gig or a practice session. You want something that feels solid the moment you slap it, stays in tune when you crank the volume, and doesn't drain your wallet before you've even recorded the first track. That hesitation dash, what if I spend a lot and end up with something that's more hassle than help, is the exact place this review starts, because buying a bass isn't just a purchase, it's a commitment to a sound and a feel that will shape your playing for months, maybe years. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Ibanez BTB746 is the brand's take on a modern, stage-ready instrument, and at first glance it's easy to get lost in the glossy finish and the sleek silhouette. But the real question is whether its design choices translate into everyday reliability. The bass sports a 6-string layout, which already tells you it's aimed at players who need that extra low B or higher register without swapping instruments. The body is built from ash wings backed with Okoume-backed light, resonant wood combination that promises both resonance and a manageable weight. In the studio, that means you get a natural low-end thump that doesn't get lost under a mix. And on the road, you won't be fighting a massive piece of furniture to get it onto the stage. If you've ever struggled with neck stability on a Bolton bass, the BTB746 5-piece maple/walnut neck-through construction is a big part of the appeal. Neck-through designs lock the neck and body together in a single piece of wood, which translates into more consistent sustain and fewer tuning surprises after long sessions. In my own test runs, a quick run through a 12-bar blues progression showed the intonation staying spot on, even after a full hour of hard picking. That's the kind of hidden trade-off you don't see on the spec sheet. You pay a little extra for the neck-through, but you gain confidence that the instrument will hold its pitch when you need it most. The BTB746 also comes with 2 humbucking pickups and a 3-band active EQ. For a player who likes to dial in a deep, punchy tone for funk, then swing to a smoother, rounded sound for jazz, the active EQ gives you that flexibility without having to swap pedals. The mid-range knob is particularly useful for cutting through a busy mix, while the bass and treble controls let you shape the low end and presence on the fly. The downside, though, is that you'll need a fresh 9-volt battery for every gig, and if you're used to passive basses, you'll have to get comfortable with the fact that the tone will change when the battery drops. In a live setting, I've noticed that a dying battery can make the pickup sound a bit dull, so keeping a spare on hand becomes part of the routine. Who should buy this bass? If you're a gigging musician who needs a 6-string that can cover a wide tonal palette from gritty rock riffs to clean, articulate lines in a studio setting, this is a solid candidate. The combination of a resonant body wood, the stability of a neck-through, and the active EQ makes it a workhorse that can adapt to different genres without the need for a rack of effects. It's also a good fit for intermediate players who are ready to step up from a 4-string but aren't ready to break the bank on a boutique instrument. The price point, while not the cheapest on the market, lands in a range where the extra features feel justified, especially when you consider you're getting a full 6 strings, a high-quality fingerboard, and an active circuit out of the box. On the flip side, if you're a beginner who's still learning the basics of bass technique, the extra string can be more of a complication than a benefit. The neck-through design also adds a bit of heft compared to a Bolton, which might be noticeable if you have smaller frames or plan to sit for long rehearsals. And if you're a player who prefers the simplicity of a passive bass where you just plug in and go, this model's active EQ could feel like an unnecessary layer of complexity. In that case, a simpler 4-string with passive pickups might serve you better. Now let's talk about the Jatoba Fingerboard. Jatoba is a dense hardwood that feels smooth under the fingers and offers a slightly brighter attack than typical rosewood. When you're playing fast, intricate passages, that clarity becomes noticeable. Each note articulates without bleeding into the next. In a live funk groove, the board's tight feel helped me keep the rhythmic precision needed for those syncopated lines. The downside is that Jatoba can be a tad harder on the fingertips for players who are used to softer woods, especially during long practice sessions. A quick adjustment period with proper hand care solves that, but it's something to be aware of before you commit. 1.